We've got breaking news out of college football where Michigan State has fired head coach Jonathan Smith after just 2 seasons. That's been confirmed by our Matt Zenitz and Richard Johnson. Smith had a rough tenure in East Lansing, going just 9-15 with the Spartans. That includes a 1-8 record in conference play this season, which was Michigan State's worst record in Big Ten play since 2016. He's also the first Spartans head coach with back-to-back losing seasons since John L. Smith in 2006. Smith's buyout will cost Michigan State over $30 million. Our Matt Zenitz reporting that former Northwestern head coach Pat Fitzgerald is considered a person of interest for the opening in East Lansing. Let's welcome in Brad Crawford to react to this news. And Brad, things were going so well at Oregon State. This hire made a lot of sense. Where did it go wrong for Jonathan Smith?
Yeah, we thought Michigan State would have a ton of transfer portal success. Jonathan Smith bringing over his quarterback, Aiden Childs from Oregon State, among some other playmakers. And it just didn't work out, Emily. I mean, he was 1-8 this season in Big Ten play, 3-6 last year, back-to-back 8-loss seasons. That's not going to cut it in East Lansing. Now, where I'm surprised is the Spartans made this decision after year 2. Normally at a Power 5 job, you see this happen maybe after 3 seasons, where you shorten the leash and you figure it out, you evaluate where you want to go. But they cut the cord quickly. $30 million buyout to me shows that there are some deep-pocketed Michigan State boosters out there who want a new coach now. And I'm a little bit surprised it happened. Nothing surprises me during the crazy coaching carousel season, but I did not expect Michigan State to open here on November 30th.
Yeah, well, that opening news was followed quickly behind interest from Michigan State into Pat Fitzgerald, the former head coach at Northwestern. So maybe the timing has something to do with that. But what would you think about Pat Fitzgerald coming back to the Big Ten and being the head coach of the Spartans?
I think it'd be an awesome hire. Pat Fitzgerald obviously is a respected coach. He has won with less at Northwestern in the Big Ten before. And he's kind of a open free agent here this cycle that really hasn't had a ton of, I guess, pizzazz and things mentioned about him for different jobs. But he'd be a great hire for Michigan State. And obviously it would be a complete shift turn from the offensive-minded era that was Jonathan Smith, or so we thought it would be, to a more ground and pound, offensive line-driven, line of scrimmage type team that Pat Fitzgerald would bring to East Lansing.
Brad, you said it best. We expect nothing less from the coaching carousel than absolute chaos. Let's update you on the latest happening. A lot of hires happening today, but still some big openings with Penn State, LSU, UCLA, Cal, and Michigan State. We expect some clarity on at least 2 of those jobs happening today, but we'll continue to keep you updated here on HQ, and we will continue to react to this news with our newsbreaker, Matt Zenitz, on the other side. Let's welcome in the aforementioned Matt Zenitz. And the timing of this, Matt, very quick tenure for Jonathan Smith in East Lansing. Why do you think this move was made after just 2 seasons?
It just hadn't gone well during the course of the last couple of years, and a lot of unhappy people behind the scenes really throughout the course of the year. And it reached a point where Athletic Director Jay Badd had started vetting other candidates in recent weeks while trying to make a final decision regarding the future of Jonathan Smith. It ultimately makes the final call now to move on from Jonathan, coming out of a year that they were 2-8 against P4 competition, including 1-8 against conference opponents. And now it shifts to the next part of it in terms of potential replacements. And one of the names that's already come up on my end as a person of interest for Jay Badd is former Northwestern head coach Pat Fitzgerald, who won 110 games there, was the National Head Coach of the Year in 2020. So he will be a person to monitor just heading into this process now with Jonathan Smith now out.
Yeah, you consider him a person of interest, which sounds like he's committed a crime. But what about interest in the other direction for Pat Fitzgerald? What are you sensing as far as his interest in this position?
I think this is one that can make a lot of sense for both sides. So first of all, Pat Fitzgerald, but before everything ended the way that it did at Northwestern, was a respected enough figure in the coaching world that he was getting interest for not only bigger college opportunities, but NFL head coaching opportunities to go along with that. And he's interviewed for legitimately, it feels like, at least 5 different jobs, 4 or 5, somewhere in that range. This cycle going back to the Virginia Techs of the world, interviewed for Florida, has interviewed for Penn State. I'm probably missing some. UCLA, I think he was on the radar for. Arkansas, another one. And now coming up is being on the radar for Michigan State. So now that there's been a resolution with his lawsuit against Northwestern, it opens the door for him to now get back into coaching, which he 100% wants to do. And again, this is a situation that, to me, makes a lot of sense for both sides if does ultimately come together. And obviously, we're well aware of just his ties to that conference, that part of the country, and just overall history within the Big Ten.
It certainly does make a lot of sense. Anticipate him to be a hot name in this coaching carousel, though. And Matt, this carousel is absolutely spinning out of control. We're getting some reaction from our John Talty saying that Ole Miss players are starting to stream out of the building. A loud cheer just broke out when another player said that Pete Golding was the interim head coach. I know you are actively trying to get information out of Oxford right now. What's the latest that you've got?
It's similar to what we talked about earlier. So Lane Kiffin is not going to be coaching the team during the playoffs. Pete Golding, as you just referenced, and like we were talking about earlier, is going to be the interim. And he's also going to be somebody who is respected enough there by Ole Miss administration that he's going to have a real shot at getting that job on a permanent basis also. So he'll be among the candidates to replace Lane Kiffin, and obviously gets a chance to audition now as the interim heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, Pete Golding, the current defensive coordinator, expected to be named the interim head coach for Ole Miss as they enter their first ever college football playoff. Matt Zenitz, we appreciate it. Get back to the phones. I'm sure that this day is just beginning for you because there are still some more openings that are happening in college football. Of course, we're tracking the official announcement from LSU that Lane Kiffin will be their next head coach. So far, though, we will have an empty space next to the Tigers, but still Penn State, UCLA, Cal, and Michigan State now open.